Prisoner transport for Collier County. That's crazy to see up here. Alright guys, here's the Lee County one as well. So I'm gonna guess they had a big raid of people getting rushed up. It's crazy that you're on the highway in Florida and this is the type of crap you're seeing these days. Florida is probably the only place in America where you gotta have solar powered cameras at construction sites so they don't steal the materials. Check out this construction site here in Port Charlotte. They got their materials, but they gotta set up cameras so people don't steal it. Where else but Florida do you need something like this? Unbelievable. The medio city. Dígame.
¿Me escucha?
Sí, dígame, señora.
Estoy indicando con usted desde el Departamento de Beneficios Medicare. Caballero, ¿cómo se encuentra el día de hoy?
Ah, muy bien, dígame, señora.
Ok, caballero, fíjese, el motivo de la llamada es para confirmar si ya usted recibió su tarjeta llamada FlexiCare.
No, pero mira, yo ahora estoy con mi marido y estamos haciendo el amor. ¿Tú me puedes llamar después? Porque es que yo estoy con mi marido ahora. Welcome to Collier County, Florida. Even though the sign doesn't exist anymore, we are now entering the county where Naples sits in. Today we're going to be heading to Immokalee, Florida, but first, welcome to Naples, Florida. Alright guys, we're heading off to Immokalee, Florida in Collier County. A lot of the people here are Cubans. You'll see dump trucks everywhere. Most of the dump truck drivers are going to be Cubans. It's kind of new home construction, so how people make a living here. With so many people leaving Florida because of immigration, there are for rent signs everywhere. This is South Florida. Everything is Latino down here. Even the billboards are in Spanish. Before we head to Immokalee, we're gonna get something to eat right here. This is used to be called Armando's Supermarket, and it's one of the best spots to get Cuban food in Naples. So we're gonna come right up in here to the cafeteria and get some Cuban food. Pizza guarapo y batido. Eso, mi gente, que rico. Pollito, mira para allá. Now here in this part of the county, it's mostly Cubans and Colombians. Most of them are going to be legal. Let's take a look at the community board here. You can see there's the for rent sign. There's an apartment for rent. There's an efficiency. Now, an efficiency, it's kind of like somebody will rent you their garage, literally. You can rent an RV, okay? This is somebody who is literally letting you live in an RV, so it's not even a house. People selling dogs, health insurance plans, even though they don't even have a real business card. That's pretty sketchy. Let's see what else here. Here's another apartment for rent. Somebody's got a motorcycle for sale. People have, you can park dump trucks in their backyard. Somebody's renting you an RV. Another person's renting you an RV. Apartments, a guest house for rent, which is a nice way of saying efficiency. And here's another for rent sign. But what's crazy about this community board is that people are literally renting you to live in a bus. Even the barber's Spanish here. Today is a Monday. Usually this road is bumper to bumper heading into Immokalee, but we're not even there yet, and already it's somewhat empty. If you live in this part of Florida, you know what I'm talking about. Welcome to Immokalee, Florida. 90% of the population here is undocumented. Yesterday there were ICE raids that left this town paralyzed. Let's drive around and see what the scene is here. Well, empty from what I've heard, but let's see what the scene actually looks like. Last time we were here in Immokalee, we walked around and we actually received threats from people. Allegedly, the town had been taken over by ICE and immigration agents, and they were doing raids and busts all over the town. Nothing like this exists anywhere in America. Nowhere else in the United States do you have a town where 90% of the population is undocumented. This is the type of situation that could only exist in this state of Florida. So you're probably wondering what the crap is bolita. Bolitas are palmetto berries. The undocumented people usually would pick them and then they would get paid by the pound. And well, these bolita places have been getting raided by ICE. Welcome to the Immokalee Farmers Market. It is a Monday. This time of the year is where there's mangoes, where there's just like everything you can think of this time of year. This is the time of the year where everything's in season. So a little slower than usual. One is that people see our cameras and they think that we're immigration. It could cause a panic, and it really will. The other thing is we could be attacked. It's been happening quite often out here. Last time we were out here, we actually had people threaten us. They sent guys covered in tattoos to threaten us and stuff like that. And I told them that this is a free country of free press, and if you don't want to live in a country of free press, go to a country where you don't have those freedoms. But nonetheless, it was kind of scary. Last time we came to Immokalee to do our videos, we did encounter a lot of threats for doing our videos, so it's definitely gotta be really careful today doing our videos here. Wish we weren't so broke, otherwise we'd buy some fruits and stuff, but I don't even see like the good mangoes that we usually buy.
I've only seen
usually
one stand that has really good watermelon.
Yeah, usually like this time of year it's mango season. There should be like, this time of year there should be mangoes. There should be like 1,000 different things, and all I'm seeing is like basic produce. There's supposed to be like all types of local stuff here. There's supposed to be all types of local stuff, man. Like, there's supposed to be like a lot going on, but it's like dead. What do they got here? Elotes? Not that much you can do in South Central Florida other than agriculture. This isn't, there's nothing else out here. Agriculture is literally the lifeblood of all these towns, and that's what these communities are based off of. And with 90% of the town's population being undocumented, I mean, what are you really going to do with this town if you don't have the agriculture application of it? Nobody's going to move here. It's just going to become one giant ghost town. I mean, what are you really going to do with Immokalee if it isn't what's already here? I mean, nobody's gonna move out here. Who the crap would want to move out here? It's like you're in the middle of freaking Everglades. crazy thing about Immokalee is that despite being an impoverished crap hole, rents here are ridiculously expensive. And I mean ridiculous, because most houses here are going to have as many as 10 people living in them. So $250 a room times 10 is $2,500. So a single wide mobile home can be $2,500 a month to rent here. And if you think that doesn't make sense, then you have no idea the reality of Immokalee, a town where poverty is exploited, really. I mean, there's no other way to explain this situation in this town other than the exploitation of poverty. I mean, because the landlords are the first, which are usually Hispanics themselves. Packing 10 people into a house means that if you want to have a single family home here in Immokalee, last time I checked, a single wide mobile home in this town, an old single wide mobile home, is going to run you $2,500 a month. Absolutely insane. So if you want a single family home in this town, it's extraordinarily unreasonable to rent here. It makes no sense. And it's all because, again, of the exploitation of the undocumented by what we could call slumlords, really. But it looks a lot emptier than usual here today. Usually this town's really packed. So let's take a walk through an absolutely empty Immokalee, Florida. Let me just remind you guys that me, in this town, you know, my skin complexion is fairly light. I stand out here. I don't look like I belong here. So this day could really... Today's recording session really has the potential to get pretty crappy. So, like I said, last time we came, we got threatened. It became a huge ordeal. So, hopefully, we'll be all right today. But there's definitely less people out and about than usual, and that for sure. So, one of my favorite places to eat here in Immokalee is El Taquito. There's this one and there's the other one. I think the number 2 is better from what everybody says. But I like the other one more than this one. I think there's like literally nobody here. And that's crazy because by now people are getting out of work. Are they even open? They're open. There's just nobody here. That's crazy. It's like nobody here. This is usually a business that is packed. People out on bicycles and stuff like that. Nobody out. Like, I've done videos in this town in and out, and I've had problems here. One time I was recording right around here, and I had a drunk guy that wanted to fight me. He just randomly wanted to fight me out of nowhere, and well, that wasn't any fun. And then of course last time I here we were threatened. So it's the type of town where, like, if you're doing what I'm doing right now, the town's kind of known for robberies, like to the point where late at night when people walk around, they kind of walk in groups, not alone. Take a look at La Fiesta. There's like literally nobody here. Immokalee, mi pueblo, my home. There's also Native American communities on the outskirts of this town. I mean, we're practically kind of like in the middle of the Everglades, so it's kind of rural country. Like I said, agriculture is really the only industries out here. A lot of people used to commute into Naples. Over the last few years, the town's kind of got a huge homeless population as well. Not as much as other places, but it has become noticeable, and it wasn't like that at all. This is something you don't see anywhere else in America. The hundreds of bicycles. The bicycles of Immokalee. Nowhere else in America do you see this right here. But again, you have about 90% of the population here is undocumented, so of course bicycle is the preferred method of transportation. So imagine a town where there's more bicycles than there are cars. 90% of the population is undocumented, and renting a single wide mobile home is upwards of $2,500 a month. Now this little spot right here is like a big hangout spot. People hang out here. There's like Guatemalan store here on the corner. Guatemalan store here on the corner, so people hang out and stuff, but nobody here today. It's like totally empty. Desolate, really. All the stores, like these stores here, are usually like full of people, full of life. People are just staying inside, really. Restaurants and all. What a lot of people are doing is, like, if there's like somebody that's a citizen, they'll send them out to do the grocery shopping or whatever. I also gotta make sure we don't get hit by a car. This is gonna be a really tricky day to record out here. The communities are in fear, so the few people that do have papers could, I guess, misassume our intentions of being out here. Not gonna lie, this video today's got a lot of potential for it to go crappy. But normally by this time of year, all of the local farmers would bring their avocados, their mangoes, dozens of tropical fruits that only grow in South Florida out here to sell them. And the farmers market would just have all this variety of mangoes and all these tropical fruits. And right now, well, there doesn't seem to be like none of that. It seems like there's literally nothing at the markets. Not too much going on at all. It's bland, it's empty. People are scared to go out. I mean, I've heard of people, like, if they have somebody that's like a family member that has papers, they'll send them out to get grocery runs. So what you've been seeing too is, like, if you go to a grocery store, you'll see people making like huge grocery hauls, and it's because they're the ones that got papers, and they'll send their family out to make the grocery run and stuff like that. Pasa, papi. ¿Cómo está, papi? Gracias, papi. Tenga buen día, papi. You got the chickens right there. Some of this guy's chicken for sale. Normally at this spot here, all these would be food trucks. All this would be like food trucks, markets. Even on a Monday, there'd be a lot of activity. People, they'll set up shops here and they'll sell stuff all through here. You're looking at just a fraction of what this town usually is. So I'm telling you, it might look like there's a lot of people out and about now, but it's really dead. It's just like, it's just a busy little town. It's just a strange thing, really. Most of these people are just really hardworking immigrants looking for a better life. The Guatemalans, Haitians, they have a reputation of just being some of the hardest working people ever. That's their reputation. That's what they're known for. They're known for being good, hardworking people. And the Mexicans as well. But, among those good, hardworking people come some who prey on the vulnerabilities of the community. They prey on... They try to take it... And it's not just criminals. It's landlords. It's companies. It's contractors who try to take advantage of the vulnerabilities of the community. Over here, you got a little Haitian place. You can see it says Creole. So if you've never had Haitian food, I definitely recommend it. They got the griot. It's my favorite Haitian dish. Definitely recommend it. You can see a food truck here serving Haitian food. So here, I guess they kind of rent out spaces. It's called Mercado del Pueblo, or the market of the town. And look at it. There's just a chicken and two people. It's completely vacant. It's bizarre. And Mercado del Pueblo, the market of the people. But there's nobody marketing today. Really sad. The empty market of the people. Nobody here. Everybody's gone. Nobody at the market of the people. It's the situation in Immokalee. I grew up in the Hispanic communities in this county. And my perception of these places was always farming and food. And it's just walking around is difficult enough. Farming in South Florida, in the Everglades. It's not easy. It's an admirable work ethic, jobs that Americans clearly don't want to do. And there were legal avenues for people to come over here. It's not, ¿qué pasa, primo? Saludos. There were ways for people to come legally. And even if the ones that were here went in illegality, it was perceived as a beneficial thing. But things have really gone so far downhill. But, for me, this is the community I grew up in. Like, if you look over there, some of the housing units are just basically little huts and sheds. this is the way people live out here. I mean, this is not a wealthy place in whatsoever. People have made fortunes out here, don't get me wrong. But if you look at the size of these houses, look at all the tollway signs as well. Let's just give you an idea. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in Collier County, so to me, Collier County's home. And I grew up in a mobile home park in Naples. Kind of an extension of Immokalee, closer to the beach, you could say. Not everything was glamorous, even though I lived in Naples. This county has the largest income inequality of anywhere in the United States. I think only 2 other counties in the whole country have a worse situation with income inequality. Little Florida Panther right there. Now, I've been all over the United States, and there's really nothing like Immokalee anywhere. This town should be a museum all to itself. And when I tell you there's nothing in America like Immokalee, there's nothing. I mean, I've been to California, seen the border towns from Texas to California. There's nothing like Immokalee. This town, it's like a capsule of itself. There's nothing like this town anywhere. Over the years, Collier County, you know, it's a rich county with some of the worst income inequality. So despite the fact that Immokalee is the poorest city in the state of Florida, and it's among the poorest cities in the country, like, you know, top 100 poorest cities in the country, it's in Collier County, and along the beaches in Naples. Naples is among one of the richest places in the country. So it's a bizarre place. Like I said, out of all the thousands of counties in the United States, this place has the 3rd worst income equality. So we're talking, out of thousands of counties in the United States, when it comes to income inequality, this is the 3rd. Only, I believe, 2 other counties are more screwed up than this county when it comes to income equality. So it's definitely a county of extremes. And without a doubt, the presence of all those wealthy people along the coast requires just an abnormally massive amount of undocumented people to exploit for services, landscaping, maintenance, restaurants, hospitality. I mean, literally, Naples couldn't exist without this, and I mean that to the fullest degree. Without this exploitable labor force here, Naples couldn't exist. So I think today, so far, I haven't seen anybody on point, is what they call it. So I think we're going to be okay today, or simply they just know who we are, and, well, last time we didn't let them push us around, so maybe they're not going to try it again. This is a payphone. You don't see this crap. When was the last time you saw a freaking payphone? And there's a little baby's Converse shoes right on top of it. It's crazy that this even exists. Wild. Now that across the street is a homeless shelter in Naples, Florida. Very fancy, very ritzy city. They've kind of pushed all their homeless shelters and resources this way. Not because Immokalee as a community needed it, but because they don't want those things near the beaches. So they've kind of turned Immokalee into the landfill of Naples. And so over the years, the homeless population has increased over here. And that right there is the homeless shelter that they don't want in Naples. They don't want, the rich people in Naples don't want to see a homeless shelter, basically. They don't want to see poor people, period. So they've kind of pushed resources over into this side of the county and kind of forced a lot of everything over here as far as like homeless shelters, so that they don't have to look at it along the beach towns and stuff. Now what we're passing right now is there with a lot of homeless people, so maybe somebody on the sidelines is going to see us and go report to somebody else, and then somebody will approach us. So we'll see what happens now, because we did kind of pass a little point of interest there. But all right, so they did install some crosswalks here in Immokalee, which it's interesting because a lot of these places that have a lot of undocumented people, the city and the county give no craps about ensuring pedestrian safety. But here, you have some crosswalks to ensure safe crossings of pedestrians, and we're able to utilize it to get across the road safely. This is little papaya trees here outside of the shelter. And I think one of the most kind of distasteful thing that Collier County has done, and Lee County as well, you know, both Naples and Bonita Springs have done this, is that they've kind of pushed all of their homeless shelters deep into Hispanic neighborhoods, even though the vast majority of people that reside in these shelters are not Hispanics. And it's kind of a very disrespectful thing. The city of Bonita Springs did it by putting a homeless shelter way at the end of Rosemary, and it just kind of brought all of the homeless people from all over Bonita Springs into the Spanish neighborhood, a neighborhood that before the homeless shelter didn't have any homeless people at all. So it's kind of a fairly pathetic. They don't treat these communities with a lot of respect, basically, and that's what it's about. These communities just don't get a lot of respect at all. And there it is, the Immokalee Friendship House. So Bonita Springs did the same thing as Naples, which is basically just to put all the resources in the heart of Hispanic communities, which is like, well, it's not really our problem, but well, they kind of made it our problem. I remember growing up in Naples, always hearing stories about like Immokalee, because, you know, like I said, my community, a lot of people lived in my community, would live in Immokalee seasonally, and they would come back to Naples. So I knew a lot of people from Immokalee, even though I lived in Naples, because basically, you know, demographically, it was the same core of people. And I remember in that process, hearing the stories about, you know, if you're going for a walk in Immokalee, somebody will come thump you upside the head and take whatever you got. So a lot of people, not right now in the daytime, but at night, as soon as it gets dark, you'll see people walking in twos, not alone. So, yeah, it's a town that has a reputation. I think with ICE in the house, a lot of the really bad people are probably going to be hiding. So oranges used to be a huge part of Immokalee. Now, a lot of the orange fields, first it was the diseases, now it's the immigration laws. So I feel like a lot of the oranges are probably going to go away. I'm not going to lie, a lot of the oranges, in fact, there's even murals here about it. But I think the oranges are going to be a thing of the past, probably. I don't think in the future oranges are going to be that important. But look at this, guys. 3:40 in the afternoon in Immokalee, Florida on a Monday. Look at this place. Now, ICE has been going after work trucks, work vans, and the buses that carry undocumented people and stuff like that. So I think, you know, the industries like oranges are going to suffer. There's a few other agricultural applications. There used to be tomatoes back in the day. I think there's probably less of that now than ever. But the industries are suffering. There's definitely a lot less going on with industries. It isn't even a fraction of what it used to be. And, you know, they're going to have to rezone that land for single-family home construction or something else because, you know, there's been a lot of things that have affected this area as far as land use goes. So this is pretty crafty. They're advertising the business using the car. So they're saying, hey, you know, come here and send stuff to other places. Guatemala #2. Let me tell you, I could go for a agua fresca right about now or a salvavida. So if you ever go to Guatemalan store, check out the salvavidas. They're like grape juice. It's kind of like a carbonated grape drink. Absolutely love them. They got apple and a few others, but the grape juice is really where it's at with those. There's the Collier County Sheriff's Office right here. Lots of police activity, but at least the time I've been here, haven't noticed much immigration. Good old Collier County. Good old Collier County Sheriff's Office right there. Man, how those people harassed me in my lifetime. One of the most police profiling counties that exist in this country. that I had the unfortunate misadventure to have to live in this county. And you know, this is a horrible county when it comes to law enforcement. Like I tell you, in the 20 plus years I lived in this county, there was years where I would get pulled over, detained, as much as, let me think, just off the top of my head, 1 year, 56 times detained, 2 tickets. So 99% of the time, I didn't have an infraction, I didn't do anything wrong, but they were just, oh, but they would just always profile you. Like, even when you hadn't done anything wrong, that's what they do, police profiling. It's actually pretty aggravating to live in this county because the police profiling here is persistent and aggravating. Being Hispanic in North Naples, it was a nightmare. I mean, now I live in the Sarasota, Branson area, and I haven't had any of those problems. Just heard a car crash. Somebody crashed over there, I heard. A little bit of crash. I need to drink something cold. This walk today. Hey, look at the chicken, man. Hey, papi, acá mi hermano. Oye, tú no, a ti no te han buscado. Hermano, tú tienes miedo que te vengan a llevar la policía a Cere, a la carnicería. Sí, tú. It is hot. Do I need a dang drink, man? It is just unbearable out here. It's a good day for a walk. You want to sweat like you're in a sauna. This is the place to do it out here. Pero mi gente, Immokalee está vacío. Esto está deprimente, verdaderamente. Bueno, señor. ¿Cómo? ¿La cámara? Sí. Ah, yo ni sé, todavía no la he pagado. Oh, ni me acuerdo. ¿Por qué pregunta? Oh, yo creo que cuando vas a la tienda no te la quieren ni vender, te lo quieren financiar. Sí. Es el iPhone. Ajá. Es horroroso porque tú quieres comprarlo. Yo dije, yo pago. Y me dice, no tienes que financiarlo porque te quieren cobrar intereses. Ajá. So, pero yo lo uso como cámara, sí, para mi trabajo. Sí. ¿Eres de Guatemala?
Sí, de Guatemala.
Gente trabajadora.
¿Y tú?
Los chapines cubanos.
¿Y tú?
No, cubanos, somos más huevones.
Pero hay unos.
Sí.
Pero
yo nunca los he conocido,
sí,
pero quizás existan, sí, que no sean huevones.
Sí. Pero conozco.
Sí.
Sí. Tal vez busca uno así.
Sí. Los chapines, gente de trabajo. Dale. They really are hard-working, good people out here. Los chapines. He says he wants to buy the iPhone. I'm like, you can't buy it. You have to finance. I'm like, I tried buying it and you can't. I don't really know what he meant by trying to buy. I don't think he was trying to be a passive aggressive. I think he was just being nice. But anyways, the bike racks of Immokalee, just everywhere you go. Nunca he visto Immokalee así. Este pueblo parece un pueblo de fantasma. Aquí no hay nadie, mi gente. Immokalee está completamente vacío. Aquí no hay nadie. Miren esto. Está hecho verdaderamente un pueblo de fantasma. Immokalee, aquí no hay nadie. Immokalee está abandonado. Tu familia es criminales. Si tu familia es criminal, venga aquí. Si tu familia es criminal, este lugar es para usted. Si toda tu familia son criminales, gentes violentas, no tienen licencias, esta tienda es para usted. So I think there was a car accident because I heard an impact. And we got this going. Yeah, sure enough. Yo! Alright guys, time to walk. 25 seconds. A ver, combate. Oye, tremendo camión a City. Oh, este tipo es un camión de madre a City. Okay, that truck is it right there, bro. En la tienda del ahorro. O tú te puedes esconder así. Alright, so over here is the Haitian part of town. Kind of a rough spot to come through. Now, it can be a little tough. Haitians don't like cameras, so but we'll just try to discreetly scroll through here. But so now we're gonna roll through the Haitian neighborhood. This is their hood, so their hood, their rules. So hopefully we can get in and out without any trouble. This car accident. Hey, what the hey? What's up? I guess they recognize me. All right, cool. But this is the Haitian hood over here. The trenches of Immokalee, y'all. Wild crap. We're about to scroll through the little Haiti part over here. There's a bunch of people hanging out. We gotta be real careful not to draw too much attention recording through here. There we go. Traffic is backed the crap up. But these apartments back here is all Haitians. All this through here, this whole side is all Haitians. On the other side as well, over there, all Haitians all through here. Haitian part of town. Ça passe. Todo haitiano. Haitian people hard working too. And it's just gonna realize that since the Spanish people hard work, Haitian people are hard, man. Them apartments over there is all Haitians. You see everybody hanging out. We'll keep it moving though. We don't want to draw too much attention. But all that over there is all Haitians all through there. All them apartments all through there. All through here is kind of most of the Haitians out of town. And they do go down out here. This is Immokalee. This ain't no joke out here. Crazy work. But them the Haitian apartments over there. All that on the other side of the road. If you look back over there, way in the back, is about 40 people deep back in that corner over there. See if this car gives us a break real quick. I'll show you guys a deep hangout spot. Yo, people! But there's a deep hangout spot. Pretty deep hangout spot back there, all Haitians. But we'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Definitely don't want to draw attention out here. Because like I said, this is the Haitian part of town. So it's kind of like everybody kind of respects their own little areas. And this is kind of like their little area. So we don't want to come over here playing games because after all, it's their neighborhood, not ours. So keep it moving. Keep it moving. And people don't really realize that. People think about Naples, Florida. They think, you know, it's just the rich people and the beaches and stuff. And they got no idea, bro. There's some hoods in this county. And it's not just like hoods. It's just like overwhelmingly, like the thing about this area, it's just like extreme freaking poverty. Like I said, it's the poorest city in Florida, which is, you know, one of the largest states in the country by population. So it's definitely kind kind of like a center of poverty here. Rough situations. I tell people I grew up in Naples, they just think that you're just living this spoiled lifestyle, and people don't realize, there are hoods in Naples. There are dang hoods in Naples. I mean, like, there's places in this county that are wild, man. People don't really realize it, but there definitely are. There are definitely some spots in this county that are like LA looking type hoods, or like Compton looking type hoods. People don't realize it. On that spot over there, people hang out over there is really rough down that. We're not gonna walk through that street. That second street right there. No need to walk through there whatsoever. But yeah, people don't really realize like the situation in Naples. It's like everybody just assumes that everybody down here is like rich and there's no hoods, and actually because it's so expensive, it just makes life that much harder for everybody. In fact, right? Like, that's actually what makes life out here that much harder, that everything is expensive. New home construction here. Big house, but you can see the size of the square footage. This is the type of house where they're gonna put, look how many windows it has, right? On all the corners, windows. So this is the type of house where once they're finished, they're gonna intend to put, 50, 60 people live in that house. Look at how many windows it has. Like, this is not your conventional, when you look at the design of this house, like, this is not your conventional style house. You can tell that this house is gonna be for like 80 people to live in. And that's kind of what they do here. Life in this county is expensive. The beaches are far. I mean, you need at least an hour to get to Naples. And the reality of people that live here in this city, they're not going to the beach. These people here are living in utmost poverty, difficult situations. Ain't nobody going to the beach out here. But when you hit the back streets, there are people hanging out. Like, obviously, like, just about nobody's hanging out on Main Street. But you hit the back streets and there are people out here. We really got to make sure we don't get hit by a car on purpose. But you see mattresses out by the road. People are having to like leave and stuff. A lot of people are leaving. So you see a lot of mattresses on the road. But look at these mobile homes. It's like real poverty out here. Like, people don't realize it, but it is. Oh, muchachos. And like, growing up in Naples, like, every time I tell people like I'm from Naples, like, they just assume like, oh, you're rich. They don't realize that in Naples, this is the reality of being poor in this area. Like, dude, this is some real crap out here. This is the reality of poverty in this county. It's like really, really rough out here. 10 people to a house. Single wide trailers like this will have 7 or 8 people living in them. I mean, it's absolutely it's difficult. Like, the poverty here, like I said, it's worse in Florida. So many people being undocumented. The jobs that exist are absolute garbage. Jobs in agriculture that don't pay well. It's just really disadvantaged. But at the same time, somebody's getting rich off these farms. Like, each one of these individuals may live in poverty, but each one of these individuals is per capita producing $100,000 for somebody else. If there's 10 of them, there's $1 million a year. If they've been here for 10 years, there's $10 million. Because every undocumented person here, please believe, is making fortunes for somebody else. For the landlords, for the companies they work for, the builders, the contractors, the developers. Every person out here is absolutely making a killing for somebody else. So all this poverty for the people, there's people who heavily profit from this misery. O sea, en Immokalee hay mucha pobreza. Es uno de los lugares más pobres. En la actualidad es el lugar más pobre de toda la Florida. Pero en esta pobreza que existe en Immokalee, hay gente que se están tomando ventaja de estas personas. Las rentas extremadamente caras. O sea, la pobreza que hay aquí hace a otras personas extremadamente ricas. O sea, aquí hay pobreza, pero gracias a esta pobreza, mucha gente se han hecho fortunas a la espalda de los inmigrantes, contratistas, constructores, dueños de fincas. O sea, esta pobreza que existe en este condado le ha generado millones y millones de dólares a los ricos de esta área. Esta pobreza que existe aquí le ha hecho fortunas a muchas personas. Algunos que se lo han ganado trabajando honradamente. No todo el mundo que es un negociante es un depredador económico. Existen gente que honradamente se han ganado su vida, han hecho sus negocios, son gente emprendedora y trabajadora. Aquí los hay muchos, gente trabajadora, emprendedora que han hecho sus negocios y han podido prosperar en los Estados Unidos. Pero también hay personas que han tomado ventaja de las personas a una gran escala. How many times have you heard stories of people here in Immokalee going to work for a builder, building houses, working in landscaping, and after a hard day's work, that person disappears on them and doesn't pay them? I remember many years ago, I was driving down Immokalee Road and I saw a guy walking. This is when I used to live over here. Saw this guy walking down the road, and I went to a job site, worked for a few hours, came back, and I see the same guy walking again. And I asked myself, I said, bro, weren't you walking like hours ago? And he said, yeah, that was me. I said, where are you going? Like, do you need a ride? He said, I'm going to Immokalee. I was like, dude, Immokalee is the other way. I was like, dude, you're walking in the wrong direction. Immokalee is actually the other way. And he goes, well, no, I know where I'm going. I'm like, dude, you've been walking for hours. You don't know where you're at. Let me take you to Immokalee. So just give me $20 in gas, because I had a truck and trailer. Just give me the gas money, and I'll take you where you're going. And eventually, I asked the guy, what happened? Like, why are you walking? He says, well, I went to work for a guy, and when we finished the job, the guy walked away and left me there. And as cruel as that sounds, you wouldn't believe how often those type of stories play out in this community, you know? And really a lot of these farms and builders, and all they are is exploiting these people's situation. They're not helping. They're taking advantage of the fact that these people have to work for nothing, don't know English, and they exploit them to the max. I mean, I remember, you know, a man's work, if they're undocumented, right now was $140 a day, possibly even 120 to 140. You know, a heavy day is 140. A light day of work for an undocumented person is like 120 or something. But there's people out here that will pick up guys and tell them, oh, sure, I'll pay you $80, $60 a day. And then when they go to pay them, they give them 50 or 40 and tell them, hey, man, kick rocks. What are you going to do about it? If you know, like, what are you going to do if I don't pay you, you know? And they pull weapons on them and don't pay them. And those type of things are really common, as sad as that sounds. But a lot of people have been taking advantage of the undocumented community. And in my time living down here, I couldn't tell you how many times I heard stories about people that were just going to work, trying to take care of their families, and these guys come and take advantage of the fact that they don't know English or undocumented. There are definitely some bad people out there taking advantage of these people's fairly vulnerable situation. But that is the situation here in Immokalee. Less people than usual, but life does continue. All they're doing is scaring these hardworking people. At the end of the day, people have to continue living their lives, and life keeps going in Immokalee, Florida. There's not really much more to it than that. There's one thing Central Americans have figured out, is that this is the best way to drink stuff, in a glass bottle.
Not a trip to Immokalee without hearing some roosters. Wow, that looks trashy.
Mm-hmm. It's like there's like 5 for rent signs at this intersection in Lehigh.
Leonard and 23rd. The worst area of Lehigh.
Everywhere you look in Lehigh for rent signs, y'all. It's bad. Dude, the situation here in Lehigh is bad. It's like everywhere you look, there's for rent signs. This is definitely not good. Dude, this is insane. Literally on every single block. Wow. Look at all this. And they're still building more. What a freaking disaster.
Oh my gosh.
They're still building more. This is insane. Look, bro, like you just look down the streets and on every single block, there's for rent signs. This is bad. And they're building more and more. What a freaking disaster. Dude, this is definitely a recession. This is wild. This is insane.
And it's like,
This is like back in the recession type stuff. This
oh my
is,
gosh, I haven't seen this in so long.
yeah, this is bad. This is wild.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we're here in Lehigh now, and the amount of for rent signs is insane. Obviously a sign of the same economical hardship. Wild.